Be what thou wilt, thou art allotted to be ta'en by me. Thou art my prisoner. Who art thou? Say, that I may honour thee.
Margaret, my name, and daughter to a king, the King of Naples, whosoe'er thou art.
An earl I am, and Suffolk am I called. Be not offended, nature's miracle, thou art allotted to be ta'en by me. Yet, if this servile usage once offend, go, and be free again as Suffolk's friend. Oh, stay! I have no power to let her pass. My hand would free her, but my heart says no.
Say, Earl of Suffolk, if thy name be so, what ransom must I pay before I pass? For I perceive I am thy prisoner.
How canst thou know she will deny thy suit before thou make a trial of her love?
Why speakst thou not? What ransom must I pay?
She is a woman, therefore to be won.
Will thou accept of ransom, yea or no?
Oh, fond man, remember that thou hast a wife. How then can Lady Margaret be my paramour?
It were best to leave him, for he will not hear.
There all is marred, there lies a cooling card.
He talks at random, sure the man is mad.
And yet dispensation may be had.
And yet, I would that you would answer me.
I'll win this, Lady Margaret. For whom? Why, for my king. Yet my fancy may be satisfied, and peace established between these realms.
Hear ye? Captain, are you not at leisure?
It shall be so. Disdain they ne'er so much. Henry is youthful and will quickly yield. Madam, I have a secret to reveal.
What? For though I be enthralled, he seems a knight and will not in any way dishonour me.
Lady, vouchsafe to listen what I say.
Perhaps I shall be rescued by the French, and then I need not crave his courtesy.
Madam, give me a hearing and a cause.
Tush! Women have been captive ere now.
Lady, wherefore talk you so?
I cry you mercy. 'Tis but quid for quo.
Say, gentle princess, do you not suppose your bondage happy to be made a queen?
To be a queen in bondage is more vile than is a slave in base civility. For princes should be free.
So shall you, if happy England's royal king be free.
Why? What concerns his freedom unto me?
I'll undertake to make thee Henry's queen, to place a golden sceptre in thy hand, and set a precious crown upon thy head, if thou wilt condescend to be my...
What?
His love.
I am unworthy to be Henry's wife.
No, gentle madam, I unworthy am to woo so fair a dame to be his wife, and take no portion in the choice myself. How say you, madam? Are you so content?
And if my father please, I am content.
I'll over then to England with this news, and make the marriage to be solemnized.
Farewell, my lord. Good wishes, praise, and prayers shall Suffolk ever have of Margaret.
Farewell, gentle madam. But hark you, Margaret. No princely commendations to my king?
Such commendations as becomes a maid, a virgin, and his servant. Say to him.
No token of love to his majesty?
Yes, my good lord. A pure, unspotted heart, never yet faint with love, I send the king.
And this, with all.
That for thyself. I will not so presume to send such peevish tokens to a king.
As by your high imperial majesty, I had in charge of my depart for France as procurator to your excellence to marry Princess Margaret for your grace. So, in the ancient city tour, in presence of the kings of France and Sicile, the dukes of Orleans, Calabar, Bretagne, and Alençon, 7 earls, 12 barons, and 20 reverend bishops, I performed my task and was espoused, and humbly now upon my bended knee, in sight of England and her lordly peers, deliver up my title in the Queen to your most gracious hands, that are the substance of that great shadow I did represent, the happiest gift that ever Marquis gave, the fairest queen that ever king received.
Suffolk, arise. Welcome, Queen Margaret. I can express no kinder sign of love than this kind kiss. O Lord that lends me life, lend me a heart replete with thankfulness, for thou hast given me in this beauteous face a world of earthly blessings for my soul, if sympathy of love unite our thoughts.
Great King of England, and my gracious Lord, the mutual conference that my mind hath had, by day, by night, waking and in my dreams with you, mine elder lay fair sovereign, makes me the bolder to salute my king with ruder terms such as my wit affords, and overjoy of hearts doth minister.
Her sight did ravish, but her grace in speech, her words I clad in wisdom's majesty, makes me from weeping fall to joy. Such is the fullness of my heart's content. Lords, with one cheerful voice, welcome my love.
Long live Queen Margaret, England's happiness.
We thank you all.
My Lord Protector, so it please your grace, here are the articles of contracted peace between our sovereign and the French King Charles, for 18 months concluded by consent.
Imprimis, it is agreed between the French King Charles and William de la Pole, Marquis of Suffolk, ambassador to Henry, King of England, that the said Henry shall be espoused to the Lady Margaret, daughter unto King Rainier, Naples, Sicily, and Jerusalem, and be crowned Queen of England ere the 30th of May next ensuing. Item, that the Duchy of Anjou and the County of Maine shall be released and delivered to the King her father.
Uncle, how now?
Pardon me, my liege. Some sudden qualm hath struck me at the heart and dimmed mine eyes. I can read no further.
Uncle of Winchester, I pray, read on.
Item, it is further agreed between them that the duchies of Anjou and Maine shall be released and delivered to the king her father, and she sent over of the King of England's own proper cost and charges, without having any dowry.
They please us well. Lord Marquis, kneel down. We here create thee the first Duke of Suffolk, and gird thee with the sword. Cousin of York, we here discharge your grace with being regent to the parts of France till term of 18 months be full expired. We thank you all for the great favour done and entertainment of my princely queen. Come, let us in, and with all speed provide to see her coronation be performed.
sayest thou? Did the Duke of York say he was rightful heir to the crown? My Lord of Suffolk, say, is this the guise? Is this the fashions in the court of England? Is this the government of Britain's Isle? And this the royalty of Albion's king? What? Shall King Henry be a pupil still under the surly Gloucester's governance? Am I a queen? Oh, in title and in style, and must be made a subject to a duke. I tell thee, Paul, when in the city tours thou ranst a tilt in honour of my love, and stolest away the ladies' hearts of France, I thought King Henry had resembled thee in courage, courtship, and proportion, but all his mind is bent to holiness, to number Ave Maries on his feet. His champions are the prophets and apostles, his weapons, holy swords of sacred writ. His study is his tilt yard, and his loves are brazen images of canonized saints. I would the College of Cardinals would choose him Pope and carry him to Rome and set the triple crown upon his head. That were a state fit for his holiness.
Madam, be patient. As I was cause your highness came to England, so in England will I work your grace's full content.
Beside the haughty protector have we Beaufort, the imperious churchman, Somerset, Buckingham, and grumbling York. And not the least of these that can do more in England than the king.
And he of these that can do most of all cannot do more in England than the Nevils. Salisbury and Warwick are no simple peers.
Not all these lords do vex me half so much as that proud dame, the Lord Protector's wife. She vaunts it through the court with troops of ladies, more like an empress than Duke Humphrey's wife. Strangers in court do take her for the queen. She bears a duke's revenues on her back, and in her heart she scorns our poverty. Shall I not live to be avenged on her, contemptuous base-born callet as she is? She vaunted amongst her minions t'other day the very train of her worst-wearing gown was better worth than all my father's lands, till Suffolk gave 2 dukedoms for his daughter.
Madam, myself have limed a bush for her, and placed a choir of such enticing birds that she will like to listen to the lays, and never mount to trouble you again. So let her rest. And madam, list to me, for I am bold to counsel you in this. Although we fancy not the cardinal, yet must we join with him and with the dukes till we have brought Duke Humphrey in disgrace. As for the Duke of York, this late complaint will make little benefit for him. So one by one, we'll weed them all at last, and you yourself shall steer the happy helm.
For my part, noble lords, I care not which, or Somerset or York. All's one to me.
If York hath ill demeaned himself in France, let him be denied the regentship.
If Somerset be unworthy of the place, let York be regent. I will yield to him.
Whether your grace be worthy, yea or nay, dispute not that York is the worthier.
Ambitious Warwick, let thy betters speak.
The cardinal's not my better in the field.
All in this presence are thy betters, Warwick.
Warwick may live to be the best of all.
Peace, son. And show some reason, Buckingham, why Somerset should be preferred in this.
Because the king, forsooth, will have it so.
Madam, the king is old enough himself to give his censure. These are no women's matters.
If he be old enough, what needs your grace to be protector of his excellence?
Madam, I am protector of the realm, and at his pleasure will resign my place.
Resign it then, and leave thine insolence. Since thou art king, as who is king but thou, the Commonwealth hath daily run to rack, the Dauphin has prevailed beyond the seas, and all the nobles and peers in the realm have been as bondmen to thy sovereignty.
The commons thou hast racked, the clergy's bags are lank and lean with thy extortions.
Thy sumptuous buildings and thy wife's attire have caused a mass of public treasury.
Thy cruelty in execution upon offenders hath exceeded law, and left thee to the mercy of the law. Thy sales of officers of towns in France, if they were known as the suspect is great, would make thee quickly hop without thy head.
I come to talk of Commonwealth affairs. As to your spiteful false objections, prove them. I lie open to the law. But God in mercy so deal with my soul, as I in duty love my king and country. But to the matter that we have at hand, I say, my sovereign, York is meetest man to be thy regent in the realm of France.
Before we make election, give me leave to show some reasons, of no little force, that York is most unmeet of any man.
I'll tell thee, Suffolk, why I am unmeet. First, for I cannot flatter thee in praise. Next, for if I were appointed to the place, my lord of Somerset would keep me here without discharge, money, or furniture, till France be won into the Dauphin's hands. Last time I danced attendance upon his will, until Paris was besieged, famished, and lost.
That can I witness. And a fouler fact did never traitor in the land commit.
Peace, headstrong Warwick.
Image of pride, why should I hold my peace?
Because here is a man accused of treason. Pray God the Duke of York excuse himself.
Doth anyone accuse the Duke of York of treason? What meanst thou, Suffolk?
His words were these: that Richard, Duke of York, was rightful heir unto the English crown, and that your majesty was a usurper.
Say, man, were these thy words? Base dunghill villain and mechanical, I'll have thy head for this thy traitor's speech. I do beseech your majesty, give him the full rigour of the law. Uncle, what shall we say to this in law?
This do, my lord, if I may judge. Let Somerset be your regent or the French, because in York this breeds suspicion.
I humbly thank your royal majesty.
Come, Somerset, we'll see thee sent away.
Believe me, lords, for flying at the brook, I saw not better sport these 7 years' day, yet, by your leave, the wind was very high, and 10 to 1 old Joan had not gone out.
But what a point, my lord, your falcon made, and what a pitch she flew above the rest, to see how God in all his creatures works. Ye, man and birds are fain of climbing high.
No marvel, and it like your majesty. Oh, my lord protector's hawks do tower so well. They know their lord loves to be aloft, and bears his thoughts above his falcon's pitch.
'Tis but a base ignoble mind that mounts no higher than a bird can soar.
I thought as much. He would be above the crown.
Aye, Lord Cardinal, how think you by it? Were it not good your grace could fly to heaven?
The treasury of everlasting joy.
Thy heaven is on earth. Thine eyes and thoughts beat on a crown, the treasure of thy heart. Pernicious protector, dangerous peer, that smoothed it so with king and commonweal.
What, Cardinal, is your priesthood grown peremptory? Churchman so hot? Good uncle, with such malice, hide it. With such holiness, can you do it?
No malice, sir. No more than well becomes so good a quarrel and so bad a peer.
As who, my lord?
Why, as you, my lord. And like your lordly lord's protectorship.
Oh, Suffolk, England knows thy insolence.
And thy ambition, Gloucester.
I prithee, peace, good queen, and wear not on these furious lords, for blessed are the peacemakers on earth.
Let me be blessed for the peace I make against this proud protector with my sword.
Oh, fie, holy uncle, would it were come to that?
Marry, when thou darest.
Make up no factious numbers in this matter. In thine own person answer thy abuse.
Aye, where thou darest not peep, and if thou darest, this evening on the east side of the grove.
How now, my lords?
Be sure, my cousin Gloucester, if not your man had put up the fowl so suddenly, we had had more sport. Come with your two-hand sword.
True, uncle. Are ye be advised? East side of the grove.
I am with you.
Why? How now, Uncle Gloucester?
Talking of hawking, nothing else, my lord. But by God's mother, priest, I shall have your crown for this, or all my fence shall fail.
Protector, see to it well. Protect yourself.
The winds grow high. So do your stomachs, lords. How irksome is this music to my heart. When such strings jar, what hope is harmony? I pray, my lords, let me compound this strife. What tidings with our cousin Buckingham?
Such as my heart doth tremble to unfold. A sort of naughty persons lewdly bent under the countenance and confederacy of Lady Helena, the protector's wife, the ringleader and head of all this rout, have practiced dangerously against your state, dealing with witches and with conjurers whom we have apprehended in the fact of raising up wicked spirits from underground, demanding of King Henry's life and death, and other of your Highness Privy Council, as all at large whom grace shall understand.
And so, my Lord Protector, thy lady is forthcoming yet at London. This news, I think, hath turned your weapon's edge. I think, my lord, you will not keep your hour.
Ambitious churchman, leave to affect my heart. Sorrow and grief have vanquished all my powers. And as vanquished as I am, I yield to thee, or to the basest groom.
God, what mischief works the wicked ones, heaping confusion on their own heads thereby?
Gloucester, see here the tainture of thy nest, and look, thyself be faultless, thou wert best.
That for myself to heaven I do appeal, though I have loved my king and commonweal. As to my wife, I know not how it stands. Noble she is, but if she have forgot honour and virtue, and conversed with such as like to defile nobility, I banish her my bed and company, and give her as a prey in law and shame that have dishonoured Gloucester's honest name.
Well, for this night we shall repose us here. tomorrow towards London back again, to look into this business thoroughly, and call these foul offenders to their answers, and poise this cause to justice equal scales, whose beam stands sure, and rightful cause prevails.
I beseech your majesty, give me leave to go. Sorrow would solace, and mine age would ease.
Stay, Humphrey Duke of Gloucester, ere thy go, give up thy staff. Henry will to himself protector be, and God will be my hope, my stay, my guide, and lantern to my feet. Go in peace, good Humphrey, no less beloved than when thou wert protector to thy king.
I see no reason why a king of years should be to be protected like a child. God and King Henry govern England's realm. Give up your staff, sir, and the king his realm.
My staff! Here, noble Henry, is my staff. As willingly do I resign the same as ere your father Henry made it mine. And even as willingly at your feet I leave it, as others would ambitiously receive it. Farewell, good king, and when I'm dead and gone, may honourable truth attend thy throne.
Why now is Henry king, and Margaret queen, and Humphrey Duke of Gloucester scarce himself that bears so shrewd a maim, 2 pulls at once, his lady banished, and a limb lopped off. This staff of honour brought. Then let it stand, where best it fits to be.
I muse my Lord of Gloucester is not come. 'Tis not his wont to be the hindmost man. Whatever occasion keeps him from us now.
Can you not see? Or will you not observe the strangeness of his altered countenance? With what a majesty he bears himself. How insolent of late he has become. How proud, how peremptory and unlike himself. We know the time, since he was mild and affable, and if we did but glance a far-off look, immediately he was upon his knee that all the court admired him for submission. But meet him now, and be it in the morn when everyone will give the time of day, he knits his brow and shows an angry eye and passeth by with stiff, unbowed knee, disdaining duty that to us belongs. And Humphrey is no little man in England. First note that he is near you in descent, and should you fall, he is the next will mount. Meseemeth then it is no policy, respecting what a rancorous mind he bears, and his advantage following your decease, that he should come about your royal person, or be admitted to your highness council. For reverend care I bear unto my lord, made me collect these dangers in the dew. If it be fond, call it a woman's fear, which fear, if better reasons can supplant, I will subscribe, and say I wronged the Jew. My Lord of Suffolk, Buckingham and York, reprove my allegations if you can, or else conclude my words effectual.
Well, hath your highness seen into this, Duke? And had I first been put to speak my mind, I think I should have told your grace's tale. The Duchess, by his subornation, upon my life, began her devilish practices. Or, if he were not privy to those faults, yet by reputing of his high descent, as, next the king, he is successive heir, and such high vaunts of his nobility did instigate the bedlam, brain-sick Duchess by wicked means to frame our sovereign's fall.
Did he not?
No, my sovereign. Gloucester is a man unsounded yet and full of deep deceit.
Did he not, contrary to form of law, devise strange deaths for small offences done?
And did he not, in his role as protector, levy great sums of money through the realm for soldiers' pay in France, and never sent it, by means whereof the towns each day revolted?
But these are petty faults to faults unknown, which time will bring to light in smooth.
My lords, at once. The care you have of us to mow down thorns that would annoy our foot is worthy praise. But shall I speak my conscience? Our kinsman Gloucester is as innocent from meaning treason to our royal person as is the sucking lamb or harmless dove. The Duke is virtuous, mild, and too well given to work my downfall or to dream on evil.
What's more dangerous than this fond of fears? Seems he a dove? His feathers are but borrowed, for he's inclined as is the hateful raven. Is he a lamb? His skin is surely lent him, for he's disposed as the ravenous wolves, who cannot steal a shape that means deceit. Take heed, my lord. The welfare of us all hangs on the cutting short that fraudful man.
All health unto my gracious sovereign.
Welcome, Lord Somerset. What news from France?
That all your interest in those territories bitterly bereft you. All is lost.
Cold news, Lord Somerset, but God's will be done.
Aye, cold news. For me. For I had hopes of France as firmly as I hope for fertile England. Thus are my blossoms blasted in the bud, and caterpillars eat my leaves away. Still, I will set this gear ere long, or sell my title for a glorious grave.
All happiness unto the Lord my King. Pardon, my liege, that I have stayed so long.
Nay, Gloucester. No, thou art come too soon, unless thou wert more loyal than thou art. I do arrest thee of high treason here.
Well, Suffolk, thou shalt not see me blush, nor change my countenance for this arrest. A heart unspotted is not easily daunted. The purest stream is not so free from mud as I am clear of treason to my sovereign. Who can accuse me? Wherein am I guilty?
'Tis thought, my lord, that you took bribes of France, and as protector stayed the soldiers' pay until his majesty hath lost France.
Is it but thought so? What are they that think it? I never robbed a soldier of his pay, or even had 1 penny bribe from France. So help me God, as I have watched the night, aye, night by night, in studying good for England, that doit I ever wrested from the king, or any groat I hoarded for myself, be used against me on my trial day? No. Many a pound of mine own store, because I would not tax the needy commons, have I disbursed to the garrisons, and never asked for restitution.
It serves you well, my lord, to say so much.
I say no more than truth, so help me God.
And it is thought that as protector, you devise strange tortures for offenders never heard of, until England was defamed for tyranny.
Why, it is well known that whilst I was protector, pity was all the fault there was in me. For I should melt at an offender's tears, and lowly words were ransom to their fault, unless there were a bloody murderer or foul felonious thief who fleeced poor passengers. I never gave condign punishment.
My lord, these faults are easy, quickly answered. But mightier crimes are laid unto your charge, whereof you cannot easily purge yourself. I do arrest you in his highness's name, and here commit you to my lord cardinal to keep until your further time of trial.
My lord of Gloucester, it is my special hope that you will clear yourself of all suspicion. My conscience tells me you are innocent.
My sovereign lord, these days are dangerous. Virtue is choked by foul ambition, and charity chased from hence with rancor's hand. Foul subordination predominates, and equity exiled your highness's land. I know their complot is to have my life. And if my death might make this island happy and prove the period of their tyranny, I would expend it with all willingness. But mine is made the prologue to their play. For thousands more that yet suspect no peril will not complete their plotted tragedy. Beaufort's red sparkling eyes blab his heart's malice, and Suffolk's cloudy brow his stormy hate. Sharp Buckingham unburdens with his tongue the envious load that rests upon his heart, and dogged York, who reached out for the moon, whose overweening arm I have plucked back, by foul accusation levels at my life. And you, my sovereign lady, with the rest, causeless, has laid disgraces on my head, and with your best endeavour have stirred up my liefest lord to be mine enemy. Aye, all of you have laid your heads together, and all to make away my guiltless life.
My liege, his railing is intolerable. If those who care to keep your royal person from treason, secret knives, and traitors' rage are thus upbraided, chid, and rated on, and the offender given scope of speech, 'twill make them cool in zeal unto your grace.
Hath he not twit our sovereign lady here with ignominious words, though clerkly couched, as if she had suborned some to to say false allegations, to overthrow his state.
But I can give the loser leave to chide.
Far truer spoke than meant. I lose, indeed. Beshrew the winners, for they played me false. And well such losers may have leave to speak.
He'll rest us hence and hold us here all day. Lord Cardinal, here's your prisoner.
Sir, take away the Duke and guard him sure.
Aye, and my fear were false that it were. For, good King Henry, thy decay I fear.
Lords, what your wisdom seemeth best, do or undo as if yourself were here.
What? Will your highness leave the parliament?
Aye, Margaret, my heart is drowned with grief, whose flood begins to flow within mine eyes, my body round engirt with misery, for what's more miserable than discontent? Uncle Humphrey, upon thine eyes I see the map of honour, truth and loyalty, and yet, good Humphrey, is the hour to come that erst I prove thee false or fear thy faith. What lowering star now envies my estate that these good lords and Margaret our queen do seek subversion from their harmless life? Thou never didst them wrong, nor no man wrong. Even so myself bewails good Gloucester's case with sad unhelpful tears, and with dimmed eyes look after him, and cannot do him good. So mighty are his vowed enemies.
Free lords. Cold snow melts with the sun's hot beams. Henry, my lord, is cold in great affairs, too full of foolish pity. And Gloucester's show beguiles him as the mournful crocodile with sorrow snares relenting passengers, or as the snake rolled in the shining bank with patterned checkered slow, though sting a child. That for the beauty thinks it's excellent. Believe me, lords, we're none more wise than I, and yet herein I judge mine own wit good. This Gloucester should be quickly rid the world, to rid us the fear we have of him.
That he should die is worthy policy, but yet we want a colour for his death.
But in my mind, that would not policy. The king will labour still to save his life. The commons will haply rise to save his life. And we have but trivial argument, more than mistrust, that proves him worthy death.
So that by this you would not have him die?
York, no man alive so fain as I.
Well then, my Lord Cardinal, my Lord Suffolk, speak as thou think and speaketh from thy souls. 'Twer't not all one, an empty eagle were set to guard a chicken from a hungry kite, as place Lord Humphrey as the king's protector.
So the poor chicken should be sure of death.
Madam, 'tis true. And were it not madness then to make the fox surveyor of the fold, who, being accused a crafty murderer, his guilt should be but idly posted over, because his purpose is not executed. No, let him die, in that he is a fox, proved by nature an enemy to the flock, before his chaps can be stained with crimson blood, as Humphrey, proved by reasons to my liege.
Thrice noble Suffolk, 'tis resolutely spoke.
No, not resolute, except so much were done. For things are often spoke, but seldom meant. But that my heart accordeth with my tongue, seeing the deed is meritorious. And to preserve my sovereign from his foe, say but the word, and I will be his priest.
But I would have him dead, my lord of Suffolk, ere you can take orders for a priest. Say you consent and censure well the deed, and I'll provide his executioner. I tender so the safety of my liege.
Here is my hand. The deed is worthy doing.
And so say I.
And I. And if the three of us speak it, it skills not greatly who impugns our doom.
My lord of York, try what your fortune is. The uncivil kerns of Ireland are in arms, and temper play with blood of Englishmen. To Ireland will you take a band of men, collected choicely from each county sum, and try your hap against the Irishmen?
I will, my lord, so please his majesty.
Why, our authority is his consent. And what we do establish he confirms. Then, noble York, take thou this task in hand.
I am content. Provide me soldiers, lords, and I will take order for mine own affairs.
A charge, Lord York, that I shall see performed. But now return we to the false Duke Humphrey.
No more of him, for I will deal with him that henceforth he shall trouble us no more. And now break off. The day is almost spent. Lord Suffolk, we must talk of that event.
My lord of Suffolk, within 14 days in Bristol I expect my soldiers. From there I'll set them to Ireland.
I'll see it truly done, Lord of York.
Go. Call our uncle to our presence straight. Say we intend to try his grace today if he be guilty as 'tis published.
I'll call him presently, your highness.
Lords, take your places, and I pray you all, proceed no straighter against our cousin Gloucester than from true evidence of good esteem he be approved in practice culpable.
God forbid any malice should prevail, that faultless may condemn a noble man. Pray God, he may acquit him of suspicion.
I thank thee, Meg. These words content me much. How now? Why look'st thou pale? Why tremblest thou? Where's our uncle? What's the matter, Suffolk?
Dead. In his bed, my lord. Gloucester is dead.
Marry, God forfend!
God's secret judgment. I did dream tonight the Duke was dumb and could not speak a word.
How fares my lord?
Grip his body, wring his nose!
Run, go. Help! Help!
He doth revive again. Patience, lady.
Heavenly God!
How fares my gracious lord?
Comfort, my sovereign. Henry, comfort.
What? Doth my lord of Suffolk comfort me? Came he right now to sing a raven's note, whose dismal tune bereft my vital powers? And thinks he that the chirping of a wren, by crying comfort from a hollow breast, can chase away the first conceived sound? Hide not thy poison in such sugared words. Lay not thy hands upon me, forbear, I say. The touch affrights me as a serpent's sting. Thou baleful messenger, out of my sight! Upon thine eyeballs, murderous tyranny sits in grim majesty to fright the world. Look not upon me, for thine eyes are wounding, yet do not go away. Come, basilisk, and kill the innocent gazer with thy sight. For in the shade of life, in the shade of death, I shall find joy. In life but double death, now Gloucester's dead.
Why do you rate my lord of Suffolk thus? For though the Duke was enemy to him, yet he most Christian-like laments his death. And for myself, foe as he was to me, might liquid tears or heart of heart-rending groans or blood-consuming sighs recall his life. I would be blind with weeping, sick with groans, look pale as primrose with blood-drinking sighs, and all to have the noble Duke alive. What know I how the world may deem of me? For it is known we were but hollow friends. It may be judged I made the Duke away, so shall my name with slander's tongue be wounded, and princes' courts be filled with my reproach. This get I by his death. Ay me, unhappy to be a queen, and crowned with infamy.
Oh, woe is me for Gloucester, wretched man!
Woe for me, more wretched. What? Dost thou turn away and hide thy face? What, art thou like the adder, waxen deaf? Be poisonous too, and kill thy forlorn queen. Is all thy comfort shut in Gloucester's tomb? Why then Dame Margaret was near thy joy. Erect his statue and worship it, and make my image but an alehouse sign. Was I for this nigh wrecked upon the sea? And twice by awkward wind from England's bank drove back again unto my native clime. What boded this? But well, for warning wind did seem to say, seek not a scorpion's nest, nor set no footing on this unkind shore. The pretty vaulting sea refused to drown me, knowing that thou wouldst have me drowned on shore, with tears as salt as sea through thy unkindness. Ay me, I can no more. Die, Margaret, for Henry weeps that thou dost live so long.
It is reported, mighty sovereign, that good Duke Humphrey, by Suffolk and the Cardinal Beaufort's means, traitorously is murdered. The commons, like a hive of angry bees that scatter up and down and want their leader, and care not who they sting in their revenge. Myself have calmed their spleenful mutiny until they hear the order of his death.
That he is dead, good Warwick, 'tis too true. But how he died, God knows, not Henry. Enter his chamber, view his breathless corpse, and comment then upon his sudden death.
What shall I do, my liege? Stay Salisbury with a rude multitude till I return.
Thou that judgest all things, stay my thoughts that labour to persuade my soul some violent hands were laid on Humphrey's life. If my suspect be false, forgive me, God, for judgment only doth belong to thee. Fain would I go to chafe his paly lips with 20,000 kisses, and to drain upon his face an ocean of salt tears, to tell my love unto his dumb, deaf trunk, and with my hands feel his fingers unfeeling. But all in vain are these mean obsequies, and to survey his dead and earthly image. What were it but to make my sorrow greater?
As surely as my soul intends to live, I do believe that violent hands were laid upon the life of this thrice famed Duke.
A dreadful oath, sworn with a solemn tongue. What instance gives Lord Warwick for his vow?
Oh, how the blood is settled in his face! Oft have I seen a timely parted ghost of ashy semblance, meagre, pale, and bloodless, being all descended to the labouring heart, who in the conflict that it holds with death attracts the same in aidance against the enemy. which with the heart there calls, and there returneth to blush and beautify the face again. Ay me, his face is black and full of blood. His eyeballs further out than when he lived, staring full ghastly like a strangled man. His hair upreared, his nostrils stretched with struggling, his hands abroad displayed as one that grasped and tugged for life, and was by strength subdued. It cannot be but he was murdered here. The least of all these signs were probable.
Why, Warwick, who should do the Duke to death? Myself and Beaufort had him in our protection, and we, I hope, sir, are no murderers.
But both of you were vowed Duke Humphrey's foes, and you, forsooth, had the good Duke to keep. 'Tis like you would not feast him like a friend, and 'tis well seen he found an enemy.
Then you belike suspect these noble men as guilty of Duke Humphrey's timeless death?
Who finds the heifer dead and bleeding fresh, and sees first by a butcher with an axe, but will suspect 'twas he that made the slaughter? Even so suspicious is this tragedy.
Are you the butcher, Suffolk? Where's your knife?
I wear no knife to slaughter sleeping men, but here is a vengeful sword, rusted with ease, that shall be scoured in his rancorous heart that slanders me with murder's crimson badge. Say, if thou darest, proud Lord of Warwickshire, that I am faulty in Duke Humphrey's death.
What darest not Warwick, if false Suffolk dare him?
He dares not calm his tumultuous spirit, nor cease to be an arrogant controller, though Suffolk dare him 20,000 times.
Madam, be still. With reverence, may I say, for every word you speak in his behalf is slander to your royal dignity.
Dull-witted lord, ignoble in demeanour. If ever lady wronged her lord so much, thy mother took into her blameful bed some stern, untutored churl, and with noble stock, graft with crab-tree slip, whose fruit thou art, and never of the Nevil's noble race.
But send thy soul to hell, pernicious bloodsucker of sleeping men.
Thou shalt be waking while I shed thy blood, if from this presence thou darest go with me.
Away, even now, or I will drag thee hence. Unworthy though thou art, I'll cope with thee, and do some service to Duke Humphrey's ghost.
What stronger breastplate than a heart untainted? Thrice is the arm that hath his quarrel just, and he be but naked, though locked up in steel, whose conscience with injustice is corrupted.
What noise is this?
How now? Your wrathful weapons drawn here in our presence? Dare you be so bold? Why, what tumultuous clamour have we here?
The traitorous Warwick with the men of Bury set all upon me, mighty sovereign.
Dread Lord, the Commons send you word by me that unless Lord Suffolk straight be done to death or banished from England's fair territories, they will, with violence, tear him from your palace and torture him with grievous, lingering death. They say by him the good Duke Humphrey died. They say in him they fear your Highness' death. And fear they not.
'Tis like the Commons. Rude, unpolished hinds could send such message to their sovereign. But you, my lord, were glad to be employed, to show how quaint an orator you are. But all the honour Salisbury hath won is that he was the Lord Ambassador sent from some sort of tinkers to the king.
Go, Salisbury, and tell them all from me I thank them for their tender loving care. And had I not been cited so by them, yet that I purpose as they do entreat. For sure, my thoughts do hourly prophesy mischance unto my state by Suffolk's means, and therefore by his majesty I swear, whose far unworthy majesty I am, he shall not breathe infection in this air, but 3 days longer, on the pain of death.
No, Henry, let me plead for gentle Suffolk.
Ungentle queen, to call him gentle Suffolk. Plead no more for him, no more I say. If thou dost plead for him, it wilt but add increase unto my wrath. Had I but said, I would have kept my word. But when I swear, it is irrevocable. If after 3 days' space thou hearest be found on any ground that I am ruler of, the world shall not be ransom for thy life. Come, Warwick. Come, good Warwick, I have great matters to impart to thee.
Mischance and sorrow go along with you.
Cease, gentle queen, these execrations, and let thy Suffolk take his heavy leave.
Hast thou not spirit to curse thine enemy?
A plague upon them! Wherefore should I curse? Aye, every joint should seem to curse and ban, and even now my burdened heart would break should I not curse them.
Enough. Sweet Suffolk, thou torments thyself, and these dread curses like the sun against glass, or like an overcharged gun, recoil, and turn the force of them upon thyself.
You bade me ban, and will you bid me leave?
So get thee gone, that I may know my grief. 'Tis but surmise while thou art standing by as one that surfeits thinking on a want. I will repeal thee, or be well assured, adventure to be banished myself. And banished I am, if but from thee. Yet now, farewell, and farewell life with thee.
Thus is Suffolk 10 times banished, once by the king, and 3 times thrice by thee. 'Tis not the land I care for, wert thou thence. A wilderness is populous enough, so Suffolk had thy heavenly company. For where thou art, that is the world itself, with every several pleasure in the world. And where thou art not, desolation. I can no more. Live thou to joy thy life. Myself no joy in naught but that thou livest.
Now get thee hence. The king, thou knowest, is coming. If thou be found by me, thou art but dead.
No, let me stay. Befall what may befall.
To France, sweet Suffolk. Let me hear from thee. For wheresoe'er thou art in this world's glow, I'll have an iris that shall find thee out.
I go.
And take my heart with thee.
This way fall I to death.
This way for me. Oft have I heard that grief softens the mind and makes it fearful and degenerate. Think therefore on revenge and cease to weep.
What answer makes your grace to the rebel supplication?
I'll send some holy bishop to entreat. But stay, I'll read it over once again.
barbarous villains.
How now, madam? Still lamenting and mourning for Suffolk's death? I fear me, love. If that I had been dead, thou wouldst not have mourned so much for me.
No, my love. I should not mourn, but die for thee.
My gracious lord, retire to Killingworth until a power be raised to put them down.
Oh, with the Duke of Suffolk now alive, these Kentish rebels would be soon appeased.
Come, Margaret. God our hope will succour us.
My hope is gone. Now Suffolk is deceased.
Farewell, my lord. Trust not the Kentish rebels.
Trust nobody, for fear you be betrayed.
See, Buckingham. Somerset comes with the Queen. Go bid her hide him quickly from the Duke.
For 1,000 Yorks he shall not hide his face, but boldly stand and front him to his head.
How now? Is Somerset at liberty? Shall I endure the sight of Somerset? A false king! Why dost thou break faith with me, knowing how hardly I can brook abuse? A king, did I call thee? No, thou art not king. Not fit to govern or rule multitudes who cannot rule or dares not rule a traitor. Thy head does not become a crown. Thy hand was made to grasp a palmer's staff, not an awful princely sceptre. Here is a hand to hold such a sceptre, and by doing so, controlling law. Give place. By heaven, no more shalt thou rule over him who heaven created to be thy ruler.
Oh, monstrous traitor! I arrest thee, York, of capital treason against king and crown. Obey, audacious traitor! Kneel for grace!
Wouldst thou have me kneel? We shall see whether these can brook that I should bow a knee to any man.
Call hither Clifford, bid him come amain, to say if that the bastard boys of York shall be the surety for their traitor father.
These boys of York, thy better in their birth, shall be the surety of their father's bail, and bane to those that refuse for my surety these boys.
And here comes Clifford to deny their bail.
Health and all happiness to my lord the king.
Thank you, Clifford. Say what news with thee. Nay, do not fix me with an angry look. We are thy sovereign. Kneel again. For thy mistake we pardon thee.
This is my king, York. I do not mistake, but thou mistakes me much to think I do to Bedlam with him. Is a man gone mad?
Aye, Clifford. Bedlam and ambitious humour makes him oppose himself against his king.
Then he is a traitor. Let him to the tower and cut away that factitious patriot.
He is arrested, but will not obey. His sons, he says, shall give their words for him.
Do you say so, boys?
Aye, noble father, if our words will serve.
And if words will not, then our weapons shall.
Why, what a brood of traitors have we here?
Look in a glass and look at thine own image. I am thy king, and thou a false heart traitor. Call hither to the stake my two brave bears, who by the very rattling of their chains shall astonish these fell-hearted curs.
Are these thy bears? I'll bait thy bears to death, and monocle the bear herd to their chains if you dare bring them to the baiting place.
Oft have I seen a hot, o'erweening cur run back and bite because he was withheld, who, being suffered with a bear's fell paw, hath clapped his tail between his legs and cried. And such a piece of service will you do if you oppose yourselves to match Lord Warwick.
Hence, heap of wrath, foul, ingested, lump, as crooked in thy manners as thy shape.
Nay, we shall heat you thoroughly anon.
Take heed, lest by your heat you burn yourselves.
Why, Warwick, hath thy knee forgot to bow? What, wilt thou on thy deathbed play the ruffian, and seek out sorrow with thy spectacles? Oh, where is faith? Oh, where is loyalty? Will that go dig a grave to find out war, and shame thy honourable age with blood? Why art thou old and want'st experience, or whereof doth abuse it if thou hast it? For shame and duty, bend thy knee for me that bows towards the earth with mickle age.
My lord, I have considered with myself the title of this most renowned duke, and in my conscience do repute his grace the rightful heir to England's royal seat.
Hast thou not sworn allegiance unto me?
I have.
Can thou dispense with heaven for such an oath?
It is great sin to swear unto a sin, but greater sin to swear unto a sinful oath. Who can be bound by any solemn vow to do a murderous deed, to rob a man, to force a spotless maiden's chastity, and have no other reason for this wrong but to say he was bound by a solemn oath?
A subtle traitor needs no sophister.
Call Buckingham, go bid him arm himself.
Call Buckingham, and all the friends thou hast. I am resolved for death or dignity.
I warrant thee the first, if dreams prove true.
You are best to go to bed and dream again, to keep thee from the tempest of the field.
I am resolved to bear a greater storm than any thou canst conjure up today.
Fie! Charity for shame! Speak not in his spite, for you shall sup with hated Christ tonight.
Foul stigmatic, we'll see what thou canst tell.
If not in heaven, you'll surely sup in hell.
Hey! You are too slow!
Can we outrun the heavens? Good Margaret, stay!
What are you made of? You'll nor fight nor fly? Now is it manhood, wisdom, and defence to give the enemy way and to secure us by what we can, which can no more but fly. If you be taken, we then shall see the bottom of all our fortunes, but if we haply escape as well, we may. If not through your neglect, we shall to London get, where you are loved, and with this breach now in our fortunes made may readily be stopped.
Away, my lord! Away!
Here comes the Queen, whose look betrays her anger. I'll steal away.
Northumberland, so will I.
Nay! Go not from me. I will follow thee.
Be patient, good Queen, and I will stay.
Who can be patient in such extremes? Wretched man! would I had died a maid, and never seen thee, never borne thee son, seeing thou hast proved so unnatural a father. Hath he deserved to lose his birthright thus? Hadst thou but loved him half so well as I, or felt that pain which I did for him once, or nourished him as I did with my blood, thou wouldst have left thy dearest heart-blood there, rather than have made that savage duke thine heir, and disinherited thine only son.
Father, you cannot disinherit me. If you be king, why should not I succeed?
Pardon me, Margaret. Pardon me, sweet son. The Earl of Warwick and the Duke enforced me.
Enforced thee? Art thou king? And wilt thee force? I shame to hear thee speak. Timorous wretch, thou hast undone thyself, thy son, and me, and given unto the house of York such head as thou shalt reign but by their sufferance, to entail him and his heirs unto the crown. What is it? But to make thy sepulchre and creep into it far before thy time. Had I been there, which am a silly woman, the soldiers should have tossed me on their pikes before I would have granted to that act. But thou prefers thy life before thine honour. And seeing thou dost, I here divorce myself, both from thy table, Henry, and thy bed, until that Act of Parliament be repealed, whereby my son is disinherited. The northern lords that have forsworn thy colours will follow mine, if once they see them spread. And spread they shall be, to thy foul disgrace and utter ruin of the house of York. Thus I do leave thee. Come, son, let's away. Our army's ready. Come, we'll after them.
Good queen, and hear me speak.
Thou hast spoke too much already. Get thee gone.
Gentle son Edward, thou wilt stay with me.
But when I return with victory from the field, I'll see your grace. Till then, I'll follow her.
Come, son, away. We may not linger thus.
Come, bloody Clifford, rough Northumberland, I dare thy quenchless fury to more rage.
Yield to our mercy, proud Plantagenet. Aye, so much mercy thy ruthless arm with downright favour showed unto my father.
Oh, from my ashes, like the phoenix, a bird shall rise to give vengeance upon you all. With such hope do I raise mine eyes to heaven and scorn whatever you can afflict me with.
So cowards fight when they can flee no further. So desperate thieves, all helpless for their lives, shout out invectives against the officers.
Oh, bethink thee once again, Clifford, and when thy thoughts overrun my former time, and if thou canst for blushing, view this face, and bite the tongue that slanders him for cowardice, whose frown have made thee faint and fly here before.
I will not bandy with thee word for word, but beckle with thee blows, twice 2 for 1.
Halt! valiant Clifford. For 1,000 causes I would prolong a while this traitor's life. Wrath makes him deaf. Speak thou, Northumberland.
Hold, Clifford. Do not honour him to prick thy finger, but to wound his heart. What valour is it when a cur doth grin to shove thine hand between his teeth, instead of with thy foot to spurn him away? It is war's prize to seek all vantages, but 10 to 1 is no impeach of honour.
Aye. Here goes the rook hop to the gin.
So doth the coney struggle in the net.
So doth thieves conquer their stolen booty. So doth true men yield when o'ermatched with such robbers.
What would your grace seek done unto him now?
Brave warriors, Clifford and Northumberland, come, make him stand upon this molehill here, that wrought at mountains with outstretched arms, yet parted but the shadow with his hand. What? Was you that would be England's king? Was you that revelled in our parliament and made a preachment of your high descent? Oh, where are your mess of sons to back you now? The wanton Edward and the lusty George? And where's that valiant crookback prodigy, Dickie, your boy, that with his grumbling voice was wont to cheer his dad in mutinies? Or, with the rest, where is your darling Rutland? Look, York, I stained this napkin with the blood that valiant Clifford with his rapier's point made issue from the bosom of the boy. And if thine eyes can water for his death, I give thee this to dry thy cheeks withal. Alas, poor York, but that I hate thee deadly, I should lament thy miserable state. I prithee, grieve to make me merry, York. What? Hast thou fiery heart so parched thine entrails that not a tear can fall for Rutland's death? Why art thou patient, man? Thou shouldst be mad. And I, to make thee mad, do mock thee thus? Stamp! Rave! Fret! That I may sing and dance? Thou wouldst be feed, I see, to make me sport. York cannot speak unless he wear a crown. Oh! A crown for York, and, lords, bow low to him. Now hold his hands whilst I do set it on. Aye, marry, sir, now looks he like a king. Aye, this is he that took King Henry's chair. Then this is he was his adopted heir. But how is the great Plantagenet is crowned so soon and broke his solemn oath? As I bethink me, you should not be king till our King Henry had shook hands with death? And will you hale your head in Henry's glory and rob his temples of the diadem now in his life against your holy oath? It is a fault. Too unpardonable. Off with the crown, and with the crown his head. And whilst we breathe, take time to do him dead!
This is my office!
No, stay. Let's hear the orisons he makes.
Oh, she-wolf of France, were worse than the wolves of France, whose tongue doth poison more than the adder's tooth. Whether face not, unvizard-like, unchanging, impudent with evil use, I would essay, proud queen, to make thee blush. I would tell thee from whence thou came, of whom derived. 'Twere shame enough to shame thee, were thou not shameless. 'Tis beauty that makes women proud, but God knows thy share with all is small. 'Tis virtue that doth make them most admired, but the contrary doth make thee wondered at. 'Tis government that makes them seem divine, but the lack thereof makes these seem abominable. Oh, tiger's hide wrapped in a woman, tiger's heart wrapped in a woman's hide. To spill the lifeblood of the child, bid the father wipe his eyes withal and wear a woman's face. Women are soft, pliable, flexible, remorseless. Bidst thou me rage? Well, thou hast thy wish. Bidst thou me weep? And thou hast thy will. For raging winds do give way to incessant showers, and when the rage allays, the rain begins. See, cruel queen, these tears that drop are my sweet Rutland's obsequies, and each one cries vengeance against thee, fell Clifford, and thee, false Frenchwoman.
Beshrew me. Seeing his passions, I cannot but check the tears from my eyes.
See, ruthless queen, a hapless father's tears. Thou dipped this cloth in the blood of my sweet boy, and with my tears I wash the blood away. Here, take the napkin and go boast of this. And if thou tells this heavy story right, upon my soul, the hearers will weep. Yea, even my enemies will weep fast falling tears and say, alas, it was a piteous deed. Take the crown, and with the crown my curse, that in thy need thou shalt find such comfort as I have found by thy cruel hand. Cold-hearted Clifford, take me from this world, my soul to heaven, my blood on your hands.
Had he been slaughterman to all my kin, I would not for my life but weep with him to see how inly sorrow doth gripe his soul.
What weeping right, my lord Northumberland? Think but upon the wrong he did us all, and that will quickly dry thy melting tears.
Here's for my oath. Here's for my father's death.
And here's to right our tender-hearted king.
Open thy gates, of heaven, sweet God. My soul does fly out through these wounds to meet thee.
Off with his head and set it on York gates, that York may overlook the town of York. Welcome, my lord, to this brave town of York. Yonder is the head of that arch enemy that sought to be encompassed with your crown. Doth not the object cheer your heart, my lord?
Aye, as the rocks cheer them that fear their wreck. To see this sight, it irks my very soul. Withhold revenge, dear God. 'Tis not my fault, nor wittingly have I infringed my vow.
My gracious liege, this too much laity and harmful pity must be laid aside. Ambitious York doth level for thy crown, thou smiling as he knit his angry net. He, but a duke, would have his son king, and raise his issue like a loving father. Thou, being king, blessed with a goodly son, didst yield consent to disinherit him. Shall you do a most unloving father? Were it not pity that this goodly boy should lose his birthright by his father's fault, and long hereafter say unto the child what my great-grandfather and his grandsire had, my careless father fondly gave away.
Full well hath Clifford played the orator, inferring arguments of mighty force. But tell me, Clifford, didst thou never hear that things ill-got ever had bad success? And happy was it always for that son, whose father for his hoarding went to hell? I'll leave my son my virtuous deeds behind, and would my father had left me no more. For all the rest is held at such a rate as brings 1,000-fold more care to keep than in possession any jot of pleasure. Aye, York, would thy best friends did know how it doth grieve me that thy head is here.
My lord, cheer up your spirits. Our foes and I, and this soft courage makes your followers faint. You promised knighthood to our forward son. Unsheath your sword and dab him presently. Edward, kneel down.
Edward Plantagenet, arise a knight, and learn this lesson. Draw thy sword in right.
My gracious father, by your kingly leave, I'll draw it as a parent to the crown, and in that quarrel use it to the death.
Aye, spoken like a two-oared prince. I would thy highness would depart the field. The queen has best success when you are absent.
Aye, good my lord, and leave us to our fortune.
Why? 'Tis my fortune too. Therefore I'll stay.
Be it with resolution then to fight.
My royal father, cheer these noble lords, and hearten those that fight in your defence. Unsheath your sword, good father, and cry, St. George!
Now, perjured Henry, wilt thou kneel for grace and set thy diadem upon my head, or bide the mortal fortune of the field?
Go rate thy minions, proud insulting boy. Becomes it thee to be thus bold in terms before thy sovereign and thy lawful king?
I am his king, and he should bow his knee. I was adopted heir by his consent, since when his oath is broke. For as I hear, you, that are king, though he do wear the crown, hath caused him by new act of parliament to blot me out and put his own son in.
For good reason, too. Who best succeed the father but the son?
Are you there, butcher? Oh, I cannot speak.
Aye, Crookback. I am here to face thee, or any he, the proudest of their sort.
'Twas you that killed young Rutland, was it not?
Aye, and old York, yet still not satisfied.
For God's sake, lords, give signal to the fight.
What say Sir Henry? Wilt thou yield the crown?
Why, how now, long-tongued Warwick? Dare you speak? When you and I met at St. Albans last, your legs did better service than your hands.
Then was my turn to fly, and now 'tis thine.
You said so much before, and yet you fled.
'Twas not your valour, Clifford, drove me thence.
No, nor your manhood that durst make you stay.
Northumberland, I hold thee reverently. Break off the parley, for scarce I can refrain the execution of my big swollen heart upon that Clifford, that cruel child killer.
I killed thou father. Who'st thou him, a child?
I, like a dastard and a treacherous coward, as thou didst kill our tender brother Rutland. But ere sunset, I'll make thee curse the deed.
Have done with words, lords. Hear me speak.
Defy them then, or else hold close thy lips.
I prithee, give no limits to my tongue. I am king and privileged to speak.
My liege, the wounds that bore us here today cannot be fixed with words, therefore be still.
Then, executioner, unsheathe thy sword. By him that made us all, I am resolved that Clifford's manhood lies upon his tongue.
Say, Henry, shall I have my right, or no? 1,000 men have broke their fast today, that ne'er shall dine unless thou yield the crown.
If thou deny, their blood upon your head. For York, injustice puts his armour on.
If that be right which Warwick says is right, there is no wrong, but everything is right.
Whoever got thee, there thy mother stands. For well I wot, thou hast thy mother's tongue.
Oh, but thou art neither like thy sire nor dam, but like a foul, misshapen stigmatic, marked by the destinies to be avoided, as venom toads, or lizards' dreadful stings.
Shamest thou not, knowing whence thou art extraught, to let thy tongue detect thy base-born heart?
Oh, a wisp of straw were worth 1,000 crowns to make this shameless callet know herself. Helen of Troy was fairer far than thou, although thy husband may be Menelaus. And there was Agamemnon's brother wronged by that false woman as this king by thee. His father rebelled in the heart of France and tamed the king and made the Dauphin stoop, and had he matched according to his state, he might have kept that glory to this day. But when he took a beggar to his bed and graced thy poor sire with his bridal day, even then that sunshine brewed a shower for him that washed his father's fortunes forth of France and heaped sedition on his crown and home. For what hath broached this tumult but thy pride? Hadst thou been meek, our title still had slept, and we, in pity of the gentle king, had slipped our claim until another age. Sound, trumpets, let our bloody colours wave, and either victory or else a grave. Stay! Edward, no! Wrangling woman will no longer stay. These words will cost 10,000 lives this day.
then vengeance surely comes. Nay, stay not to expostulate, but make speed, or else come after, I'll away before.
Nay! Take me with thee. Not that I fear to stay, but I love to go whither the Queen intends. Forward, away!
Fair Queen of England, worthy Margaret, sit down with us. It ill befits thy state and birth that thou shouldst stand while the king doth sit.
No, mighty King of France. Now Margaret must strike her sail and learn a while to serve where kings command. I was, I must confess, great Albion's queen in former golden days, but now mischance hath trod my title down, and with dishonour laid me on the ground, where I must take like seat unto my fortune, and to my humble seat conform myself.
Why say, fair queen, whence springs this deep despair?
From such a cause as fills mine eyes with tears, and stops my tongue, while heart is drowned in cares.
Whate'er it be thou still like thyself. Be plain, Queen Margaret, and tell thy grief it shall be eased.
Those gracious words revive my drooping thoughts, and give my tongue-tied sorrows leave to speak. Now therefore, be it known to the King of France that Henry, sole possessor of my love, is of a king become a banished man, and forced to live in Scotland a forlorn, while proud, ambitious Edward, Duke of York, usurps the regal title and the seat of England's true, anointed, lawful king. This is the cause that I, poor Margaret, with this my son, Prince Edward, Henry's heir, am come to crave thy just and lawful aid. And if thou fail us, all our hope is done. Scotland hath will to help, but cannot help. Our people and our peers are both misled, our soldiers put to flight, and as thou seest ourselves in...
While we bethink a means to break it off.
The more we wait, the stronger grows our foe.
The more I stay, the more I'll succour thee.
But impatience waiteth on true sorrow. And see where comes the breeder of my sorrow.
What's he approaches boldly to our presence?
Our Earl of Warwick, Edward's greatest friend.
Welcome, brave Warwick. What brings thee to France?
From worthy Edward, King of Albion, my lord and sovereign and thy vowed friend, I come in kindness and unfeigned love, first to do greeting to your royal person, and then to crave a league of amity, and lastly, to confirm that amity with nuptial lot, if thou vouchsafe to grant the virtuous Lady Bona, thy fair sister, to England's king in lawful marriage.
That goes forward, Henry's hope is done. King of France and good sovereign, hear me speak before you answer Warwick. This demand, look therefore, good king, that by this league and marriage thou draws not on thy danger and dishonour. For while usurpers sway the rule a while, yet heavens are just, and time suppresseth wrong.
Injurious Margaret.
And why not queen?
Because thy father Henry did usurp, and thou no more a prince than she is queen.
Then Warwick doth disannul John of Gaunt, who subdued the greatest part of Spain, and after him Henry IV, whose wisdom was mirror to the wise, and after that wise prince, Henry V, who by his prowess conquered all of France. From these doth our Henry lineally descend.
Good Earl, how haps it, in this smooth discourse, you told not how Henry VI had lost all that Henry V had gotten? Methinks these peers of France should smile at that. But for the rest, you tell a pedigree of 62 years, a silly time to make prescription for a kingdom's worth.
And why, Warwick, canst thou speak against thy liege, who thou didst obey for 36 years, and not betray thy treason with a blush?
For shame! Leave Henry and call Edward king.
No, Warwick, no. For while life upholds this arm upholds the house of Lancaster.
I, the house of York.
Queen Margaret, Prince and Northumberland, vouchsafe at our request to stand aside while I use further conference with Warwick.
Heavens grant that Warwick's words bewitch him not.
Now, Warwick, tell me, even upon thy conscience, is Edward your true king? For I were loath to link with him that were not lawful chosen.
Thereon I pawn my credit and mine honour.
But is he gracious in the people's eye?
The more that Henry was unfortunate.
Then further, all dissembling set aside, tell me for truth the measure of his love unto our sister Bona.
Such, it seems, as may beseem a monarch like himself. Myself have often heard him say and swear that this his love was an eternal plant, whereof the root was fixed in virtue's ground, the leaves and fruit maintained with beauty's sun. Impervious of envy, but not from disdain, unless the Lady Bona quit his pain.
Then Warwick, thus our sister shall be Edward's. Draw near, Queen Margaret, and be a witness that Queen Bona shall be wife to the English king.
To Edward, but not to the English king.
Deceitful Warwick! It was thy device by this alliance to make void my suit. Before thy coming, the king was Henry's friend.
And still is friend to him and Margaret. But if your title to the crown be weak, as may appear by Edward's good success, then 'tis but reason that I be released from giving aid, which late I promised. Yet shall you have all kindness at my hand that your estate requires, and mine can yield.
Henry now lives in Scotland, at his ease, and having nothing, nothing can he lose. And as for you yourself, our quondam queen, better it were you troubled him than France.
Peace! Impudent and shameless Warwick! Proud setter up and puller down of kings. I will not hence, till with my talk and tears, both full of truth, I make the good king behold thy sly conveyance, and thy lord's false love. For both of you are birds of self-same feather.
Good Earl, this is some post to us or thee.
Warwick, these are for you. Your Majesty, this comes to you from Edward. Madam, this is for you, I know not who. I think it well that our fair lady and queen doth smile at her news, while Warwick frowns at his.
Nay, mark how the king stamps as he would nettled. I hope all's for the best.
Warwick, what are thy news? And yours, fair queen?
Mine? Such as fill my heart with unhoped joys.
Mine, full of sorrow and heart's discontent.
What? Has your king married the Lady Grey? And now to soothe your forgery, and he sends me a paper to persuade me patience? Is this the alliance he seeks with France? Dare he presume to scorn us in this manner?
I told your Majesty as much before. This proveth Edward's love and Warwick's honesty.
King of France, I here protest in sight of heaven, and by the hope I have of heavenly bliss, that I am clear from this misdeed of Edward's. No more my king, for he dishonours me, but the more himself if he could see his shame. Did I forget that by the house of York my father came untimely to his death? Did I impale him with the regal crown? Did I put Henry from his native right? And am I at the last guerdoned with shame? Shame on himself. For my desert is honour. And to repair my honour lost for him, I here renounce him and return to Henry. My noble queen, let former grudges pass, and henceforth I am thy true servitor. I will revenge his wrong to Lady Bona, and replant Henry in his former state.
Warwick, these words have turned my hate to love, and I forgive and quite forget old faults. Down. And joy that thou becomest Henry's friend.
So much his friend. His unfeigned friend. That if this King of France would furnish us with some few bands of chosen soldiers, I'll undertake to land them on our shore and force the tyrant from his seat by war. 'Tis not his new-made bride shall succour him. And as for Clarence, as my letters tell me, he's very likely now will fall from him for matching more for wanton lust and honour or for strength and safety of our country.
Renowned prince, how shall poor Henry live unless thou rescue him from foul despair?
Therefore, at last, I firmly am resolved. You shall have aid.
Let me give humble thanks for all at once.
Then good Northumberland return in post, and tell false Edward, the supposed king, that the King of France is sending over maskers to revel it with him and his new bride. Thou seest what's past, go fear thy king withal.
Tell him my mourning weeds are laid aside, and I am ready to put armour on.
Tell him from me that he hath done me wrong, and therefore I'll uncrown him ere it be long.
Now Warwick, with 5,000 of our men, shall cross the seas and bid false Edward battle. And as occasion serves, this noble queen and prince shall follow with a fresh supply. Yet ere thou go, but answer me one doubt. What pledge have we of thy firm loyalty?
This shall assure my constant loyalty, that if our queen and this young prince agree, I'll join my eldest daughter with him forthwith in holy wedlock bands.
Yes, I agree, and thank you for your motion. Son Edward, she is fair and virtuous, and therefore delay not and give thy hand to Warwick. And with thy hand, thy faith irrevocable, that only Warwick's daughter shall be thine.
Yes, I accept her, for she well deserves it. And here, to pledge my vow, I give my hand.
Why stay we now? The soldiers shall be levied, and thou, good Warwick, our brave admiral, shall waft them over with our royal fleet, along till Edward fall by war's mischance for mocking marriage with a dame of France.
Brave followers! Yonder stands the thorny wood, which by the heavens' assistance and your strength must by the roots be hewn up yet ere night. I need not add more fuel to your fire, for well I wot ye blaze to burn them out. Give signal to the fight, and to it, lords.
Lords, knights, and gentlemen, what I should say, my tears gainsay. For every word I speak, you see I drink the water of mine eye. Therefore no more but this. Henry, your sovereign, is prisoner to the foe. His state usurped, his realm a slaughterhouse, his subjects slain. And yonder is the wolf that makes this spoil. You fight in justice then, in God's name, lords, be valiant, and give signal to the fight.
is made that who finds Edward shall have a high reward, and him his life.
It is, and lo, where youthful Edward comes.
Bring forth the gallant, let us hear him speak. What? Can so young a thorn begin to prick? Edward, what satisfaction canst thou make for bearing arms and stirring up my subjects? And all the trouble thou hast turned me to. Speak like a subject, proud, ambitious York. Suppose that I am now my father's mouse. Resign thy chair, and where I stand, kneel thou, whilst I propose the self-same words to thee, which, traitor, thou wouldst have me answer to.
Or that thy father had been so resolved.
That she might still have worn the petticoats, and there stolen the breech from Lancaster.
Let Aesop fable in a winter's night. His currish riddles sorts not with this place.
By heaven, brat, I'll plague ye for that word.
Aye, thou wast born to be a plague to men.
Oh, for God's sake, take away this captive scold.
Nay, away with this scolding crookback rather. Wilful boy, or I will charm your tongue. I know my duty. You are all undutiful. I am your better. Traitors as ye are. And thou usurped my father's right and mine. Take that! Thou likeness of this railer here!
Sprawlest thou? Take that to end thy agony.
Kill me too.
Marry, and shall.
Oh, Richard, hold! We have done too much.
Why should she live to fill the world with words?
Oh, doth she swoon? Use means for her recovery.
I'll hence to London on a serious matter. Ere ye come there, be sure to hear some news.
What?
Tower.
What?
The Tower.